available to them now. So you've kind of got the element that you had with Godbro, the strong Shen players, the Malphites, and you've also got those AP champions, the Lissandras, the Rydes. Of course, with Tyria Goddess change, we're on 3.9. Who knows what we're going to get? Of course, bans coming in already. We are seeing Jason Elise still being taken away. Elise still has an incredible win rate. So no surprise there. Shen and Evelyn also taken out. Lissandra at the moment is still available. And we talked about this last week in Tenerife. He's got an 86% win rate in Europe. Yeah, NA is still barely playing. It's incredible.
Yeah, Lissandra has been very, very strong over here, and wouldn't surprise me to see it featured. And there it is, final ban coming out from EG will be that Lissandra. We see Evelyn taken out. We heard Mimer say that he likes these stealthy champions, the Rengar, the Evelyn, to really have that freedom of mobility and avoiding wards. But Twisted Fate was left open, and Bjergsen says, pick that one up. I want to play me some Twisted Fate. On the other side, though, Krepo are going to get Thresh, and we talked about it earlier, Malphite. Most probably for Wickd, but it wouldn't be the biggest surprise if it went on to Froggen as well.
Yeah, it's interesting that Twisted Fate does get locked, and we've talked about it a number of times with, say, Alex Ich. And actually, if you remember back to the Fnatic Gambit game in Tenerife, nobody selected Twisted Fate. It was the first time I think we've seen him slip through in the European LCS. And both Froggen and Alex have talked about, you know, they're both actually very good on the champion, but they're also saying you can bait teams into this. I wonder if Evil Geniuses have done that again, because Froggen was in that conversation. He did play a fantastic Twisted Fate the other week, 2 weeks back when we were here in the studio. We ended up getting that triple kill at the Baron. But teams tend to lock in so quickly on the champion just to make sure they can get Twisted Fate that sometimes they probably haven't had chance to practice with it. But there's an interesting one. For the first time, we are seeing a different European LCS team playing Aatrox. We saw it in the North American LCS come out this week. If you haven't watched it in there, I believe it was Kiwi Kid that played it for Dignitas, who's played it. Certainly the games I saw anyway. There's a lot of games that happen. I don't get to watch them all, I'm afraid. But again, we are seeing not Draven being selected this time. So Draven available. The European teams still say he's strong, yet they haven't gone with it. So that's interesting, because it's Freeze. I did ask Freeze about this while we we're having food as well. And he was like, he just stayed quiet. I was like, so you're going to play him? You're not going to play him? Obviously, Froggen was on the table with us, so he's like, sat there, not saying a word.
Not putting my mouth about that one. But yeah, Aatrox, we've obviously seen him twice so far in Europe. That was both times with Darian. On the other side, we're seeing a Twitch now. Obviously, these double AD combos have been coming out a lot more, and we know that Froggen has been playing a lot of Twitch. Like, a lot. Like, really, really a lot of Twitch. And we can just say now that his win ratio is pretty good with it as well. He's kind of bragging about that to us
20 games. He just got his 20th game on his new account, and 20-0 so far on Twitch.
Not bad stats.
Not a bad stat. So he did play it, of course, in Tenerife as well last week, and they did win that game, I believe, but he didn't play very well on it in that match. It was kind of feeding, and that surprises me that they've allowed him to play it through. So obviously he's still got a bit of sway in that team. Obviously, now that they have the analysis person in there with N-Rated helping them out, they've obviously looked at it and gone, okay, it could have gone better. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we saw Xin Zhao being locked in there for Shaka. He's played Xin Zhao before. That was the game that they actually lost last week in Tenerife. Elise, of course, was the one that he won with. Already banned out here for NiP, though. So, what are NiP going to finish off with right now? Deficio hanging with the Nami, a champion which he has already played 6 times. Got a 50% win rate with that one as well. So, wouldn't certainly surprise me to see that one coming in. And the Rise as well, by the looks of things here.
Yeah, and something we actually kind of briefly skipped over was the fact that Krepo's got Thresh. Yep. That's a champion that effectively he won the game for EG in Tenerife on. The fact that you saw the entire team jump up and celebrate on literally pile onto Krepo. So the house so happy with how his hooks were setting up kills. So we're going to have to see how that works out for him. It works out very well. Yellowpete, of course, hasn't selected yet. It could still be Twitch on Yellowpete, because Yellowpete has played Twitch a number of times before. So this is effectively gave them that open opportunity that it can either be for Yellowpete, for Froggen in the mid lane. So kind of that Rise pick was a little bit blind in the mid, or, well, in the top lane. In fact, hold on a minute. It's going to be a Aatrox and jungle. I don't believe we've definitely not seen that in Europe. I'm not sure whether we've seen that in North America yet.
Darian's played it both times that we've seen Aatrox up till now in the summer split. Oh, since his release, I think we can really say. He's only been available for 2 weeks now. But yeah, Aatrox, he's been in the top lane before. We're going to see jungle here. And right now it looks like Froggen is actually going to be going with the Kassadin. Again, we see these Kassadin sneak through to the last pick every single time, pretty much, to go up against that Twisted Fate.
Yeah, very good counter and very clever picking from Evil Genius. He's putting that Twitch out there. The fact that they knew, we knew, everybody knows that he's been playing Twitch non-stop, absolutely loves that champion in the mid lane, and sure enough, it's going to Yellowpete. So good bit of foul play. So whether NiP were ready for this, whether they were expecting it, whether Bjergsen's just quickly had to change his runes of masteries around, which may be the way he's looking around. I think he maybe was expecting casting anyway. He seemed quite happy and just sitting there. We are also seeing double teleport.
Yeah, double teleport. That could be very interesting. Froggen and Wickd, obviously they still have 20 seconds to change that thing around, so they might make the decision to pull one away, but the fact is, when you've got the Twisted Fate in there, he's going to be moving around once he hits level 6 anyway. With Destiny, that having at least that one teleport on the team is going to make big sense to them. So we'll see how that all works out once we get close to the match. And you can see NiP on your screen. Again, this whole roster change that they did, they took 3 men out of the team, which is a hefty change. And now, technically, they've got their 4th change of the season coming in, with Mimer now in that top lane. EG themselves, of course, not without changes, having that fluid roster that they now have with N-rated, technically the analysis, but I suppose could play that role of jumping in as well if things need to change. And Snoopy and Shaka sharing that jungle role. So there's a lot of, in my opinion, unpredictability about some parts of this game. One thing that we should also point out is that NiP right now are 2-for-0 against EG.
They are. They have had a really good record against them, and with the new and old roster, I believe that they've been successful against Evil Geniuses. EG, though, as we mentioned, they've started to make a bit of a comeback. They went 2-1 in Tenerife, and honestly, the loss that they had was a pretty wild game. It's that match against Alternate eCash itself. That was the one that there was almost, I think it was almost 100 kills just in that game on its own. It was a pretty wild game. And they've also actually been tweeting about practice scrims this week against Gambit, and they had over 100 kills in that. So maybe with Shaker in the team, the new EG lineup is a lot more aggressive. We're going to see how that works out. Of course, Mimer has gone Flash Ignite, so he's probably going to be looking to be aggressive here. Whether he's going to be in a 2v1, though, so we'll see whether that works out. Wickd on Malphite, he's happy in a 2v1. He actually hasn't died a great deal on Malphite either. He's been literally rock solid.
Oh. So, going quite deep into utility tree as well, we see the total biscuit of rejuvenation on him, so that gives some points to how defensive he's probably going to be playing in this lane. Obviously, if it's a 2v1, you expect nothing different from that one. Doran Shield start as well for Kassadin at the kickoff from this one. Rise starting out with the Sapphire Crystal there as well, wants to go as heavy as he can on that mana side of things. So this, as we said, we're on 3.9 now, so we may see some changes in terms of builds, especially for the likes of Rise here, who obviously previously would have been trying to get that tier stacked up as early as possible. As NiP right now on the invade, they've been spotted by a ward there. Krepo still on the top side of his red buff, and actually didn't fully recall there. He kind of hit the button and then decided against it. They've got a deep ward in there at NiP, so they know, or they're gonna know at least, where Shaka is.
Absolutely, and a lot of pings, a lot of pings, but no one actually going anywhere. We did just see Pete and Krepo backing off, so maybe that was a case of, okay, we've seen who's at the top here, and they're going to try and rotate the lane. It does look like they're going to be standard duo lanes, though. We're already seeing Wickd. He's moving up to the top, so it seems that they want 1v1 this time around. Whether that's going to be Wicked's call, how many times we've heard him saying straight away that the fact that I want these 1v1s. You can see he's got a 80% win rate on Malphite. It's a very good stat. As we mentioned, he's so solid on it. Doesn't really die a great deal. He does just sit and farm, and that's really all he's got to do at Malphite right now, because it's all about the unstoppable force when he gets to level 6, when he can teleport into those team fights.
Now we see both junglers using that smite early on. Red buff for Shaka, blue buff over for Malunoo on that Aatrox. We'll see how he really makes his presence felt in this one. As we said, 3rd time we've seen the Aatrox so far here in this summer split, and first time, though, today that we're seeing him actually in that jungle there. So Freeze, of course, a man who's done amazingly well so far for NiP, was another, like me, victim of sunburn over in Tenerife, so hopefully he's feeling a little bit better from that one, and we'll see how he goes up against Yellowpete and Krepo today.
To be fair, the entire NiP team were kind of victims. They are all very red, and Malunoo just showed me how much he's bigling. It's not a pretty sight for the NiP team, but they are all happy and glad to be back here in Cologne. This Deficio freeze lane has been very successful. It's been a really good change from the test. Was a great AD carry, but since Freeze has come in, the understanding seems to be very strong between these two champions, and two players, sorry. And Deficio on Nami has played so well over the last few weeks. It's one of the champions that he seems to really feel very comfortable on, with those Aqua Prisms landing very well. Malunoo, with the double buff. He's hovering around the mid lane, but there is a ward you can see just on that side of the banana bush. Although Malunoo snuck in there, he didn't get spotted by that. He used his ability to jump across. We'll see whether Froggen falls for it though. Froggen himself, who is only level 3 right now, obviously won't have that rift walk, so he's going to get maybe forced to flash.
See about that one, of course. Doesn't have an ignite in there as well. We've had this discussion what feels like a million times by now about mid laners who really prefer this teleport, and you can definitely you know, see why against a team that's got that Twisted Fate in there, although Wickd going to be running it as well. And the funny thing is that we are getting these 1v1s in the top lane, which kind of didn't expect, to be honest.
Malunoo's been in that bush for a good 30+ seconds already, and he's done this before, but there was no chance for gank now that time around. This time, finally, he's actually pushing out a little bit, Froggen. So we do sort of see Sheka doing this exact same thing in the top here. Malunoo's going to come in, but I think Froggen's going to walk away from this one easy. Forces the flash. Job done.
Yeah, flashing away, which obviously not going to be available to him for a good while now, but I think he'll be happy with that rather than the chance of giving away a first blood as Shaka comes down. And we've seen that he is not afraid whatsoever to get involved when it comes to these 1v1 skirmishes. We saw him, I think, by the Wolf camp on the blue side, you know, as the red team in their game that they lost last week. And he's definitely not shy about getting involved and having a good brawl inside of the jungle. Froggen there just keeping things safe. We can see a couple of early items coming out as well. Negatron Cloak for Wickd in this top lane, so no real surprise. He's going to be getting very, very bulky and tanky as early as he can to really just get rid of any threat that Ryze can pose.
Yeah, there's a double Doran's ring for Bjergsen as well, so maybe we're going to see him being a little bit more aggressive once he starts getting close to that level 6. It was interesting to see that, you say the two junglers, they met, and Sheka actually had a level advantage over Malunoo, didn't want to face each other. That Bloodwell now built up by Malunoo, so of course with that passive, it was probably a case of, yeah, I don't want to really risk the double buff I've got though. And he is coming round. There is no wards anymore in this river, although the raids have just been taken. Has he got the timing? Not really, because Red's not going to be up for a while yet, so maybe it's going to be a gank on this bottom lane. There's no ward in the tri-bush. You can see it's in the river just off the side, so he won't get spotted here.
No, actually got no vision of Shaka's position right now, and he's got the ability to come straight through from this one as, well, Krepo went for the flay there and not quite able to really lock anyone down. Nicely done from the NiP bot lane, though, not to get caught out from that.
Interesting item build for Wickd. Look at that, building straight into this lane. Knew exactly what he needed. Gets that Negatron Cloak, so be full-on defensive against Mimer. Quite happy to sit and farm. As we've pointed out, you can see it's actually very even in farm across all lanes. The big difference really is the mid lane, where Bjergsen has that early advantage over Froggen and Cassidy. No surprise there, Twisted Fate a much stronger early farmer than Cassidy will be.
Yeah, we'll probably see Froggen catching that one back up in a little while. And we see there down the EG side, 4 wards picked up, well, almost 1 ward for everyone, and plus loads of pots, both health and mana on that side. We do see that the tier has been started here for Cassidy now, for Froggen, so obviously not feeling the changes too much of that 3.9 and the slower stack rate that you get from the tier now.
Yeah, with how many ward stacks, I was just wondering whether they're thinking of maybe an early dragon. I'm seeing where they put it. Actually, Sheka's just put his down in that top area, so he's actually covered off for Froggen. Malunoo's going for the invade here. He's going to go up and put the ward down for the blue, so they may be looking at something to go there. As soon as Froggen goes for that blue buff, you can see he's taking a look. Good bit of a harass here from Bjergsen. Has to rift walk away, but that red card did land it, find his target. And Malunoo is still lingering around there. He's worriedly warding out that blue buff, so NiP setting up for that invade in just a few moments.
Yeah, got really good vision on this bottom side here for when that blue actually does come into play. Right now, they could. I mean, there's no real vision on the dragon either from both sides. Both supports have a pink ward. We can see that actually Freezer's just picked up a pink ward of his own there as well. And let's not forget that both Wickd and Froggen have wards, so that's where they have teleport. So that's where those wards come into play even more. Get a ward down, you can teleport in on the backside. Just a lot of options open now for EG, but NiP of course have that with Bjergsen already at level 7 as well.
Yeah, damage boost there for Freeze actually. He went back and got the BF sword. His first item, whereas from Interceptor was built up by Yellowpete a few moments away. Blue buff will be picked up by Bjergsen, so keep our eye on the blue buff of EG, because that's almost certainly going to go the way of harassment from NiP. Freeze and Deficio, they're shoving this lane. They're going to be able to get involved as well. We're up to the 8-minute mark. It will be spawning in just a couple of seconds, so EG not really near it. That's going to seemingly be the first area of attack for either team. Of course, that ultimate is available for Bjergsen, takes that null sphere. And Froggen just keeping those lanes cleared. So a slow start here, Joe, but kind of what we're expecting. This is the first game of the week, of course. There's going to be 8 matches this week, 12 matches the week after, and the final week is all about Super Week. Here we go. This is what we're expecting, Joe. They're going to go in and contest the blue.
Yeah, Bjergsen coming around, got the stun card pulled. Needs to be a little bit carefully with Shaka over the side. Of course, they have full vision coming in there as well. And in the end, that blue buff going to be secured up for Froggen. And that will be a nice sign for him as well. That's a lot of wards gone down into an unsuccessful blue steal.
Yeah, it was a big investment. Didn't quite pay off. And honestly, Malunoo wasn't really close enough. Just tried to get the steal with the wild card. Wasn't quite enough. Wickd taken very, very low by Mimer in the top lane, so starting off well for him. He is actually behind in farm, as we mentioned. Wickd is a great farmer, so he's keeping that on top, although that will start balancing itself out soon as Wickd goes back to buy. We'll see whether he uses that teleport to go back to lane. No, he's keeping it safe, so they're prepared. The fact they're going to have to use it for Dragon in a few moments.
Yeah, I'm going to be making sure that that is still available to them. So the castle is being picked up by Mimer early on to add into that tier. Wickd with a giant spell is like, I'm getting a little bit burst down here, so, well, what better way than coming back with a giant spell to try and stop that one from happening. Right now, Shaka moving over towards this mid lane as well. Bjergsen still got Flash available, still got all his summoners, plus that Destiny available to him as well, which not being utilized up until now, almost 10 minutes in, and still no first blood. These teams not wanting to risk anything at this stage, and who would blame them when you look at the league table?
Interesting, Freeze also sitting on his ace in the hole. He's not using it to just harass on Pete or Krepo or anything like that. He's just keeping it there, so he's full stack mana. So whether NiP are ready and waiting to do something, or whether they want to try and push the pressure down, or whether he just thinks it's simply not worth it because he's got that Vampiric Scepter, which is probably the most likely. There we are seeing a flash. The teleport comes in down the bottom, unstoppable force used as well. That barrier coming out from Freeze. Is it going to be first blood? They will finally get it down. Good Aqua Prism from Deficio, but wasn't quite enough. Got 3 members of Evil Geniuses in it, but Yellowpete was at the back.
Sad thing is here for NiP, there's nothing you can really do about that. It's like one of those horrible scenarios where you just can't do anything against it, and it leaves them perfectly now with a five-man team now that Shaka's there to start doing the Dragon. There is a ward put down by Malunoo at the backside, but Dragon at half HP. Malunoo does have his smite, but decides not to get involved with it. This is going to be the first blood and the first Dragon of the game here coming over for EG.
Froggen going aggressive just at the end towards Bjergsen. We're getting the good Rift Walk and a Force Pulse onto him. But, again, it's EG that back off. They do get that Dragon. Are they going to trade turret? No. Should be seeing Wickd going back there earlier on. He teleported off earlier before the Dragon actually went down. So that's going to give the gold advantage. It's still just 100 gold, not a massive advantage, which shows that actually NiP are doing a very good lane phase. Of course, they do have that passive still available that Bjergsen has. It will be changed in 3.10, I believe. It's on the public beta environment right now. So that will be coming in soon. But as it stands, they're still getting a big passive boost off his gold across globally. Globally? That's the word I'm after.
You got it. That's not bad. As Yellowpete snuck into that middle lane, and we have seen a bit of a change up on that front. Looks like they want to try and get rid of this Twisted Fates. What is the added building up here? It's not close, not far away from having a solid 20 CS lead at this point. So we'll see how that one changes. Malunoo trying to get in there onto Wickd as well, who honestly, he is pretty heavily built up now in terms of what health he's got in there. Obviously that magic resist coming up from the Negatron cloak as well, so we'll see what happens with that one. And you can see he's just pretty much stuck to the turret, as we do see that pressure down the bottom as well, but I can't see Wickd being lured out into this one.
No, he's sticking quite a far back. The fact that the jungler hasn't been spotted for a while, Malunoo, he always tends to have that sixth sense, manages to keep his eyes peeled. It has actually put a ward in that tri-bush, so he's well aware of this. Now they're going to get a double stack on him. Wickd's going to have to be careful here. He's got no help for a very long distance, so he's actually going to step away from this one. Has got unstoppable force if he needs it. Meanwhile, Bjergsen, he's getting caught out. You're going to see the cast spray and pray coming out from Yellowpete. Great stun card from Bjergsen. Will it be enough? No, the poison gets him. Yes, it will be. Pete gets his second kill.
And that's the problem with Twitch. You just think you've got away with that slither of health, but of course you don't because of the poison ticking in there. And NiP, good pressure in this top lane though. They've managed to take that one down despite losing that man in the middle. The question is now whether they can actually defend this mid lane. Both Krepo and Yellowpete put in good damage onto that one. Shaka's actually just off to the south here doing the raids on the NiP side of the jungle, so he's a possibility to come in there and help them as well. Aatrox now coming down this mid lane. They're going to spot him and back away.
Yeah, Shaka was lingering. He's, like you say, he got those wraiths. He was ready and waiting for something to happen. He's taken the major wraith away, hand backs off. So, it is actually first tower to NiP. That does give him a tiniest of gold advantages. EG currently with the kill score lead. Just 2-0. Both stacked on towards Yellowpete. It's going to get now Bloodthirst up much quicker. We'll see how that helps out. Getting a Twitch stacked in there. As we mentioned, Froggen's been playing it all the time, so I wonder how it works between those two. How they debate about who's the better Twitch player and how they should build it. I don't know. It should be interesting between them. Interesting conversations. Froggen, though, he's going to be picking up the blue buff. He needs that. He's going to get that Force Pulse out. Does finally take it down. And we'll see where he goes aggressive. It's looking like the bottom lane. They've tried it once before. No, he's just going to have to clear out the lane.
Yellowpete playing very aggressive here today. I mean, we should expect from this Twitch stealthing himself up in there, getting the slows off onto Bjergsen, who they've already killed before. And that's kind of not really the Yellowpete that we're so used to seeing. He's certainly more of a passive AD carry when you compare him with the likes of other players here in the European LCS. But so far, you know, 2 for 0, definitely can't knock that position. He's going to be feeling very, very comfortable as things go forward. Deficio now coming into this mid lane as well. They want to make sure that doesn't go down. However, the pressure is coming in this bottom lane as both Froggen and Wickd able to put some damage down. Actually, Wicked's going to wait in the brush here, so they're going to try and set something up.
It's a worrying start, honestly, for Ninjas in Pyjamas for me here, because EG, generally, if they win the lanes and they're doing pretty, I'd say pretty much even across all lanes, they are losing the top lane, maybe. Wickd actually been out-farmed by Mimer so far, so maybe that's one point of contention. But EG, if they do well in lane phase, they transition so well into great team fights. NiP have got very good team fights, but of course, you've got to remember, like we were saying, they got a new sub in there. They've got a new person, which is a big damage dealer right now in terms of Rise. He's going to be huge in terms of endgame, and its question is, have they got that team synergy that EG obviously will have?
Oh, the Hawk coming through there from Krepo, but look at the damage coming out. The Ignite actually ticking away on him there. Think he's going to survive, but here comes the teleport from Froggen and Wickd in from the side of that one as well. Froggen now getting focused by Mimer. The Shaka comes back around, and EG trying to turn that one on its head, but almost backfired for them.
Yeah, they didn't quite have the members in the right place. Pete getting caught out there, has to try and stealth back towards the tower, and NiP not giving up on this one, despite the fact you can see Freeze, he's down that bottom lane, pushing the tower down. Wicked's going to have to go and deal with him, but it looks like NiP going to keep that pressure going. Pete sticks around, clears the wave. That middle turret not got much health left, nor is this top one. We do see Wickd coming down there. Dragon is going to be up in a minute. They really wanted to get these towers down so they could contest for the next Dragon.
Yeah, that'd been a great play from NiP if they could push that one out and stop really the presence of anyone in that bottom lane to go up. They've got a lot of wards down on that bottom side of the river as well. Bjergsen and Mimer both on the turret right now. As Bjergsen is going in there, getting as much damage down as he can. Shaka down to less than half HP from the two of them combining onto him as well. So this turret now needs a lot of reinforcement if Evil Geniuses are going to keep that one up. There's a ward over the top from Krepo, not really revealing much of anything. And Freeze going to make 2-0 in turrets as they take down the bottom outer turret with 18 seconds for Dragon. Perfect timing for NiP here. Yeah, perfect timing, perfect harass. They made sure it was Shaka that they managed to force back to tower, and now they're going to dive on towards Wickd. Have they got enough to take down the brick, though? That's the question. There's the stun card. There's the wild card. Everything going towards Wickd. He is going to go down in this one, but have they put too much into it? You can see the top lane turret's taking a lot of damage. The middle turret's taking a lot of damage. They're going to go for Dragon, but have they put too much effort in just taking it down? Well, Froggen's certainly going to have that top turret away. He's got masses of minions coming in. He's making sure that the next waves don't come through to that one. Dragon will be taken here by NiP, but EG have 3 men in that mid lane. They will manage to take that one down. Mimer alone versus 3, not able to hold that one off. So it brings us back to tied game now in turrets, but NiP having that lead thanks to the advantage that they've got in the farm in most places, and also, of course, the Twisted Fate passive, plus that last Dragon, leaves them 1,000 gold in the lead.
Yeah, Froggen trying to set up, so nice play. EG realizing the situation, realizing the pressure that NiP were placing on them, and countered it very well. So still even, as you say, just that 1,000 gold, that's all it is. That actually gives NiP that advantage. It does mean that they've won out in the lane phase, and in terms of farm, Wickd actually did fall a bit behind Mimer. It was something that we focused on at the start in that top lane. Is what we wanted to look at between them, the fact that Mimer had struggled in terms of farm in his previous matches at Gfinity, and certainly in solo queue as well, up against some stronger opponents. But Wickd at the moment, you know, you got to be fair, he's on Malphite. He's a good farmer, but is against the Ryze. Ryze is a great, great farmer. The mid turret's going to go down, and there's nothing that EG could do about that. Simply Krepo all on his own. They're going to take the bottom turret, though, so they're going to just transfer it around. But look at NiP. They're already moving down here, and they're going to try and leave Froggen. Froggen's going to have that rift walk to try and escape this one. EG trying to head them off in the river, realizing that the situation was a little bit too dangerous in that bottom lane, backing off. So finally, NiP have got themselves a bit of a foothold, a bit of an advantage over EG.
And there was Malunoo just getting out to this bottom lane to make sure that that one doesn't go down. Keep that tower lead that they've nicely built up here at 3 towers to 2. But look at EG. 4 men inside of the enemy jungle right now. They are moving right down towards that red buff area as more wards get put down. So they want to make sure they've got complete vision of that one. And Malunoo needs to be careful. Yeah, he's going to back away. Doesn't want to get collapsed on. Yeah,
realize that EG or everybody's going to go for this tower. This is the only objective that they really will be focusing on. And sure enough, reads it like a book and just quickly backs away. Yellowpete's clearing out that wave. The rest of EG have actually backed away from this one because NiP have responded strongly and kind. There's Ace in the hole. It's going on to Pete. He's going to throw the lantern out. Dark Passage. Will it be enough to pick it up? Yes, he does. Barrier is used. Fantastic play from EG to escape that trap.
Oh, box put down there. There was a flash through. Wildcard's hitting Yellowpete. Not quite got the damage to take him down. You can hardly see his health on that right-hand bar right now. Going super, super low from that one. But it was an interesting move from Krepo to actually go back there and put that box in. I think it actually saved him there, though. I think that saved his AD carry's life as NiP now try and get in on towards this blue. Both Wickd and Krepo are there. Unstoppable Force is available. Same happening on the other side of the map as Malunoo smites that one away. So that's not available for Bjergsen or even for Mimer for that fact. And now this blue buff should go over to Froggen here. And in fact, he will take it down with that force ball. So good move overall there for EG, in my opinion, getting that blue buff onto the mid lane.
Yeah, very good move. And a lot of ultimates used actually from NiP just to get that one kill. So all they got out of it was a blue buff that went to their jungler instead. The blue buff for Froggen's going to be much more useful. You see the fact that Bjergsen went and got that Twin Shadows. He's trying to keep track of Froggen, but Froggen's doing a great, great job of split pushing once again. This is what we saw him doing in Tenerife, and it seems to be working out well once again for Evil Geniuses. Malunoo trying to head him off here, just defend out that turret. It's going to be a 2v2 situation, though, because you can see Shaka's ready and waiting to go for this one. But EG will back away. And again, we have this tentative moment where both teams just play this live tactical chess match.
Oh, Mimer needs to be real careful here. And as I say that, you're like, no, they don't. No, he doesn't, Joe. We're just going to leave this one. Wicked still pushing down. There's actually the teleport coming in. His Unstoppable Force comes down. Bjergsen going to do his best here. Got the slowdown onto Wicked, but he doesn't even care about that turret. He'll tank that one up all day. There is the kill, and EG going to make it 3-3 in turrets as well.
Yeah, good teleport usage there from Froggen. From the top to the bottom, quickly caught him out. And I think Bjergsen, yeah, I don't know if he'd use his ulti, whether he used Destiny to get down there. I didn't see it actually come the icon pop up because we were looking at NiP, but his ultimate is down, so I can only assume he went down there. So actually, that's going to be down for a while. And EG now equal in turrets, just a little bit behind in gold. They're going to dive in.
Oh, Mimer getting completely caught out from this one. Yellowpete actually going very, very low. We're going to see Malunoo getting in onto the backside for that one as Froggen will take down Mimer. Shaka now having to go at Freeze, but he's completely out of position from this one. Freeze going to take him down. Malunoo trying his best, gets the slow in there, but can he escape from this one? He leaps over the wall, but the minions are attacking him as well. Meanwhile, on the top side, Froggen having to rift walk in towards the Dragon Pit. And, well, it ends there with a 1-for-1 in the end after a crazy big fight.
Yeah, close fight there. They couldn't really get the focus. Neither team, they were kind of split targeted. And you could saw Shaker went for Freeze. He's like, I'm on him, guys. I'm on the AD carry. But Pete was like, no, I'm off. Not really living up to his YOLO name, I think it's safe to say. And he just backed away and left his jungler to it. So Snoopy will be sat watching now, and I'm thinking, yeah, I've been in that situation before. I know the feeling that Shaka's got right now, but these are the problems that you're going to have when you have these new players coming into the team. We saw the same. Mimer got selected quickly there, took down Ryze very early on. So ironically, it was both new members of the team that both went down.
And look at the farm here as well. I mentioned it earlier whilst Froggen was falling behind at those early levels that chances are he's going to catch this one up, and he has done that. He's got a 10 CS lead right now. 500 gold overall is the lead that he's actually got on that Twisted Fate of Bjergsen. So we'll see how that impacts in these coming minutes coming into this one. Caitlin's got a bit of an advantage there over Twitch as well. And overall, that leads to about 500 gold in the difference as well. Obviously, Yellowpete not died just yet, and also got those 2 kills to his name. But we could see now a big fight for the Dragon.
Yeah, you can see all of Evil Geniuses. The ace in the hole coming out. It's going to go on to Krepo. He's not going to be too worried about that. They did actually pull the Dragon out, but you can see that Froggen just stand at the side, waiting in the wings. They push the bottom lane in as well, so EG have a small tactical advantage. In the mid lane, you can see that Bjergsen, he's continuing to shove. Destiny is available. He's going to put a wave on towards the middle turret. Now the Dragon's going to start getting pulled out here. NiP just going to bide the time. Malunoo is going to be almost certainly launching in any second now.
Twin Shadows coming out there, and seems to be enough here from NiP to actually force EG away. They want to keep that Dragon going. Wickd was thinking about the unstoppable force there as he edges forward, but Dragon is now back in his pit, resets itself up as the Caitlyn traps go down as well, just to try and get that free stun onto anyone coming out there. But it's a bit of a face-off right now in the bottom side of Rhythm. Neither team really wanted to make the first move from this one. They wait until the opposition make a mistake. EG now starting off that Dragon once again. It gets down to half as NiP just looking for the road in. The hook missing from Krepo. Here comes the fight.
They're going to dive in. The unstoppable force. He does manage to find the AD carry and the top laner. Mimer surely going to go down here. He's going to be focused on. Wicked's actually taking the damage. He will get dropped in there, but immediately you see Malunoo dropping. Stun card onto Froggen. Have they got enough? No, the hook lands perfectly on towards Bjergsen. Froggen has the rift walk away from this one. It's a close fight. It's actually a 2-for-1 so far. Now it's a 2-for-2. Now it's a 3-for-2. Fantastic fight. Quickly turned around by Ninjas in Pyjamas, and the ace in the hole almost picked up another. And well, Ninjas in Pyjamas coming out on top with the fight that really looked like it should have gone EG's way. They just split targeted. They didn't really focus, and NiP took full advantage.
And that honestly really could have been an ace there. I was quite surprised that they went for Froggen, who was the full HP target, although I probably shouldn't have been if you look at his score right now, that they wanted to focus him down. But there were a couple of guys very low in there. They wanted the full HP target down first. They wanted to get that bonus back from Froggen, who in the end managed to sneak away from that one just about with his life intact. Got that Archangel staff now finished up with his Rod of Ages. We compare that over to the other side. Bjergsen going with Lich Bane and the Twin Shadows for the start.
Yeah, and that Lich Bane is going to start doing a lot of work on them towers. That's what he wants to get going. Froggen's been causing problems with the split push, but now Bjergsen's going to be able to do just the same. And that started off, you saw him doing it just before that Dragon fight, put the pressure on towards that middle turret, sent a big wave of minions in that. And at the moment, Evil Genius is actually starting to have a few problems here. NiP proving that they have just as good as team fighting as EG used to honestly be famed for. It's what the Korean scene actually were used to fear Evil Geniuses about, their late game team fights. And well, at the 25-minute mark, it seems that NiP have their number.
Certainly does. I'm not going to argue with that statement. I mean, this is the danger that NiP, you know, because of Mimer coming into this one, you'd expect that actually their team fighting has gone slightly downhill to that of what you'd expect from them last week when they've had, you know, Extink in there. Just the fact that they've got more time, or had more time to practice with that lineup in there. But it doesn't seem to have too much of an impact on things right now. So really interested to see how this one ends up breaking down. Wickd right now does have that Sunfire Cape working his way up towards the Frozen Heart as well. So he's going to have plenty of armor. Fact is, though, Twisted Fate and Rise between them not going to be doing too much physical damage in there as well, so we'll see how that one all works out from in the end. We've got an Aegis on both sides of things from the junglers as well, just to help out with those stats.
Yeah, NiP thought about shoving that mid lane. You saw that the fact that Wickd and Froggen were both off in that top lane. Froggen backed off to bite. Wickd stayed there, and actually NiP were unsure of his positioning, so since they didn't have a great ward advantage, certainly over in the top area of the jungle of EG, they didn't want him to get caught out by something coming out of the side, so wisely backed away, keeping the force. And EG trying to force something here. They're going to come around the side. They see Mimer. He's going to get caught by the unstoppable force. You can see Froggen. He's going to come across. Null Sphere goes down. They're backing away now. Bjergsen comes in with the support and does force them away. That was a couple of ultimates used there by Evil Geniuses and NiP. Twin Shadows going out. There's going to be the ride in the wave. Is it going to be enough? But Krepo comes flying through from the side. The Hook's doing a great job. Shaka actually flashes away from this one. Froggen Rift walks away. Finally, they get a kill. It's a second one now for Yellowpete. And it was a great fight for EG, using that advantage, simply taking away the vision, and EG, two members coming across the side, caught them all out.
Yeah, Shaka was really strong in that role as well. Uses his ultimate just to spread everyone completely out as they dive straight in on top of EG. And they've got a lot of mobility in that team. And then Yellowpete just coming in from the side, able to clean things up. He's now at 4-1-3, and that will be turret number 4 for Evil Geniuses. And they're still behind on the goal, funnily enough, whilst being ahead in turrets and kills, which just shows you how strong NiP have been so far in terms of that farm game and that dragon control coming in as well. Mimer himself is getting some getting that Negatron cloak in there as well. We've seen the runic bulwark finished off for NiP, so already they're going to have a little bit of an extra edge when it comes to that next fight. But the fact is, EG, we've said it before, they are a team that were famed for their team fighting. And if they can bring 80% of what we saw from those team fights in the likes of Season 2, then they're still dangerous, whatever the case.
Just in that mid lane, Froggen actually coming in, going aggressive on Mimer, making sure he gets the golems away from him as well. Making sure he gets every little bit of gold and stacks it up. Has got a needlessly large rod as well, so if he gets the Rabadon's Death Cap, he's going to be doing some serious damage when that next team fight comes around. He is up to level 16 as well, equal with Mimer on level, but they're the both highest in the game. As I say that, he at 17, so continues to be the highest. He is, of course, split pushing the whole time. EG clearing out the vision advantage that they have over NiP, and now the focus will be this bottom turret. You can see Mimer already there, starting to back away. The rest of NiP heading down to this bottom lane, but EG have the numbers advantage at the moment. Are they going to be able to push and get some damage down? It's already at just around a quarter health taken off it. They are going to get a good wave. They're going in, Joe.
They are going to go in for this one. Mimer actually pushing back there a little bit, as well as the Twin Shadows. And little ghosts chasing down, getting the slows off, but now NiP doing the job there. They've stopped that turret going down for now. Lost about half of its health in that one single siege, so we'll see if EG go back. It looks, though, like they've decided to back away from that one. Not going to put too much on the line and risk things for that, and they will just walk away. Froggen going to go back to his split push that we've been seeing from him time and time again here. Now, Kassadin's a perfect one to be doing that as well. It's so very mobile. As you said, that Rabadon's Death Cap going to be coming up here pretty soonish. Although you never know if Froggen might end up going up towards the Zhonya's and going a little bit differently from that one. But either way, it's a lot of damage coming out of the Kassadin. It's going to be hard to stop doing what he's doing so successfully so far.
Yeah, NiP seem to be struggling to keep the waves clear. They don't just really have someone to keep sending off the side. At the moment, you see Malunoo down that bottom line. He's been the one that's actually cleared the waves a few times. Now we're seeing Mimer going back to that top, but it's Froggen that's actually doing it. He literally went from bottom to top, cleared out the mid lane on the way past, and then cleared out the top lane, keeping that farm piling up right now, way ahead of Bjergsen. As you can see, there's a 30+ CS difference. Big difference still for Mimer versus Wickd, but that's because it's all going on to Froggen now. He's the man that's doing all the damage. He's driving around the map and clearing everything out. Of course, with the mobility that you get in Kassadin, it's no surprise. And look at this, 5 seconds to go on that dragon timer. EG want it. This is going to be their second dragon if they get it. I don't see NiP responding to this one.
No chance from there. Got 4 men still on that top side of the map. And one thing that we should know, while we've got this whole split pushing thing going on from EG, they're quite happy to send Froggen top side, to send Wickd bottom side. Let's not forget, 2 teleports they have. Both of those champions have a teleport on them, and you can't defend a split push in a top and a bottom lane with just Twisted Fate to move around from Destiny and really rely on that.
When NiP thought about it, I thought, hello, are we going to get a base raise chance? No, we're not, but Froggen puts such a big burst on Freeze, takes half his hit points off. That buys EG the time to take the bottom in a turret.
Yeah, no chance after that. They didn't know that Kassadin was waiting inside the bush, and Froggen, he's not messing around. He's going to go in there, gets an ace in the hole for his troubles, but that really not scratching the surface too much. And that's the great thing. Pretty tanky with the build he's gone, as well as having that mass damage that you expect to see from that Kassadin coming in. Next target, is that going to be that middle inner turret? It's the final one left up on the entire map right now for NiP. So slowly but surely, EG doing step-by-step decisions to get them into the lead and get the ball rolling towards victory. Yeah, systematically taking out those turrets, and as you mentioned, that middle one, maybe the next focus, or will it be the Baron? That's the question. Rabadon's Death Cap now has just been completed by Froggen. He continues his roam around the map, continues to clear out wave after wave of farm and keep that gold rolling. And, well, Bjergsen, while being on Twisted Fate, has just not been able to keep up the mobility, frankly. He's trying to get that Rabadon's Death Cap himself, or it could be Zhonya's actually, considering he is on
Twisted Fate, whether he's going to use that ultimate to try and bait out something. But again, look at the map. Froggen heading down that bottom, Rift walking his way through, gonna get another wave clear, another push on towards it, and he can just react so quickly. He's got that teleport available should he require it, and NiP seem a little bit lost as to how to react to this tactic that EG are putting across them.
Yeah, and no real surprise. I mean, what do you do? 2 teleports in there, 2 champions that can push these waves out very, very quickly. Obviously, one of them being a lot more mobile than the other, but you've only really got Twisted Fate that you can afford to send away from this push. So they've got to make a decision at some point, NiP, as to what they try to do, because all right, you have to stop the casting, but the chances of actually locking him down are pretty much 0 at this point. I mean, Froggen, as soon as he gets a sniff of someone coming near him, he is straight off and out of there. He's not even risking that one happening. So NiP are going to have to make a decision. You can see that they've done that now. They started pushing at least with 4 men towards this bottom lane. Froggen sees it because of the wards that they got down and decided to back off from that one. He's just waiting, in fact, by the golems here to maybe get a bit of a sneaky kill onto the likes of Freeze, who we saw one combo is half of his health right now.
Yeah, I wasn't sure whether he was thinking of stealing the red buff as well. NiP, they had 5 members in that mid lane for so long. They didn't really know what to do. It's discussion. You're thinking, well, Bjergsen's now got the Zhonya's, so maybe he's going to start feeling aggressive. But honestly, it tells me that Destiny is going to be used. They're going to check out the Baron. They thought Baron was maybe being done. They're going for a joke.
Yeah, there's the hook coming down. Bjergsen now popping his Zhonya's from that one as they dive on towards Yellowpete at the back, the box down. But Malunoo's been absolutely hammered in there. Obviously not going to go down just yet because of his passive, as Freeze will take out Shaka. So in the end, that ends up in a 1-0. Malunoo did manage to jump away from that one, but they're still chasing off from this one. Yellowpete starting to move in there with the stealth, but NiP will be happy with that hit and run, but it means the next time Malunoo obviously not going to have his passive available.
Yeah, passive went down, and honestly, NiP didn't gain a great deal from it. It did see, though, great usage of that Zhonya's Hourglass already from Bjergsen. Did manage to fall out. You saw Froggen did his burst combo, so he was effectively useless in a great portion of that fight, which is why we saw most of them surviving. So good usage so far. NiP managed to fool them, but I don't think they're going to get fooled the second time. They may not have spotted the fact that he just picked up that Zhonya's just before that fight. Come into the fight, did his standard Messiah tactic. Didn't bait enough, though. And it was still passive burn. That passive's going to be down for a while, the Bloodwell of Malunoo. So it's interesting that they didn't manage to get him, actually, straight afterwards. He managed to flash out of it, but you'd have thought that they'd followed up the kill.
Yeah, I certainly expected it. I mean, it's not like he's going anywhere with that passive on, so you know when he's coming back up. But I guess they just were looking for those other targets on the other sides, which obviously didn't quite work out for them with Freeze putting down so much damage now with that Infinity Edge, the last Whisper coming out, and he's got the Zeal, got a Vamp Scepter in there as well. So he's doing great damage on all fronts. You can see that Infinity Edge with the Phantom Dancer and Last Whisper is where we have Yellowpete right now. And their kills very, very similar. CS still 20 in the lead of Freeze, but as they start to get up towards these 6-item builds, then that doesn't matter as much. And we've just seen actually the Banshee's Veil being added in now, which obviously protects him for the likes of the Unstoppable Force from, maybe even the Twitch Slow from the hook from Krepo. So there's a lot in there that Banshee's Veil can really, work around.
Yeah, he was actually... I noticed he'd been sat on them items for a while, so he bought that outright and the Vampiric Scepter, sold off the Adorn's Blade. And EG, though, they're back in the middle, and look at this, NiP out of position. They're all off the side. They were getting the blue buff down. EG don't realize it, though, because they've not got the vision there. Now we just see the pink ward going down. If they'd have realized they had a ward on that blue buff, they would have almost certainly pushed and took down that final in the turret.
And the good thing that they have, I talked about Wickd earlier on, some 5k building up towards that Frozen Heart that he now has. Turrets don't really do a lot of damage to Wickd. They've got a very strong dive tool just on its own there. That Unstoppable Force underneath the tower is going to mean that it's hard for NiP to actually stick around when it comes to defending those towers a little bit later on as well. And that's going to be a little bit of a worry for them.
Well, it's still a close game. The hook on Malunoo, no passive, remember. If he goes down, that is all done for. Shaka as well getting caught out. Looks like Mimer will manage to take that one down. It's Freezer picked up the end kill. Mimer getting caught out, silenced out there. Wickd didn't use Unstoppable Force in that fight. Not a great deal used by both teams. Spray and pray and the box used by Krepo. So double ultimates for both teams, actually 3 technically because Mimer's, but that's going to come up very quickly in the reset. So again, it was a 1-for-1 close fight. Gold is still just 200 between the two teams. It's 7-9 in kills, and that 5-3 tower advantage really isn't telling right now. NiP still looking very confident in the fights.
And look at this, they're actually pushing out from this one up towards that inner turret in the mid lane. There's the twin shadows being thrown down. They get some damage down onto Wickd, which is certainly more damage than the towers and the likes of Freeze are doing to him right now, as he's got that full armor build, pretty much just a Negatron cloak, which he actually picked up as his first item after that Doran's Blade in the very early stages of this one. As the ace in the hole just kind of fizzling out as they get out of range from that one. The Wickd had to go down to this bottom lane as well. There's a massive minions actually pushing up from that one, as did Froggen in the top lane as well, which gives the opportunity to NiP to push straight through. They're going to take it.
Yeah, instant pings. There's like one down here, one up there. What are they doing? Okay, we'll take the tower in the mid lane for free that you guys have been dawdling over for a while. So just like that, Ninjas in Pyjamas take away a key tower in that inner lane, and still so close. We're approaching the 40-minute mark. The death timers are going to start increasing. These team fights are going to be vital very soon, and it's almost certainly going to be around either the Baron. I'm not too sure whether either team's actually going to get drawn into a Baron fight, though. Neither team's really shown a great deal of any sniff at going towards it. Dragon has spawned, though, and EG going to go for their third, but NiP are close. I don't think they're going to contest, though.
No. Freeze actually working over there, but that's because the red buff's up, and now it's going to be Dragon number 3 going down 4 Evil Geniuses, and that gives them 1,500 gold lead right now, which is not a lot. We're 40 minutes into this game already, and for me, EG, the fact is that they've got those 2 teleports, and they've got the ability to completely split push out, but the fact is that they've just really not gone from that, and I'm wondering what the problem there is really. We heard from N-Rated actually last week in Tenerife when we got the chance to sit down for him, that one of the first things he worked on with EG was the calls, the communication within the team. So I'm wondering if that's playing a role here in this one for EG, and they've not been able to really find an opening. Although at the same time, that lead is just so small that it's easy for us to just read out the gold there at the top, but from their point of view, with towers being so close, with kills and dragons being so close, they probably don't feel that they've got even a lead in this game at this point.
No, and honestly, a 1,000 gold lead probably at this stage
isn't a lead.
Isn't really a lead. Yeah, it doesn't equate to a great deal, and they feel it. They still feel close. They don't feel they've got the strength in the team fights just yet. And that's actually surprising. The fact that they have picked obviously Malphite for that unstoppable force. Froggen though, with the Oracle on now, because he's built up so much gold, because he's almost got the items stacked out, he's got that 5-item build already. His Twin Shadow's going to keep on chasing. I don't think it's going to catch him, and it does force him away. But Froggen now actually with that Oracle, perfect person to have it on. He hasn't died yet. You can see he's at 404. He's so mobile that he can hit and run on those wards, and he's going to take away the vision from NiP, keeping the pressure on that bottom inhibitor turret.
Yeah, and this is where EG, in my eyes, should be maybe starting to push up this middle lane right now, because Froggen was on the bottom side. He's gone down to that inhib turret. NiP got all 5 men in that mid lane. They need to create this opening for the split push that they're obviously trying to do for this last 20 minutes almost of the game.
Yeah, and Wicked's also built up a big wave on that top as well, so that's going to push down as well. And you can see Wickd happy to take a tower hit, just checking, just testing, see how much it takes, and
doesn't
put
his shield
do
down.
a great deal. Of course, the first tower hit's going to be weaker than the second and the third, and as they follow through, it gets a little bit stronger, but Froggen still causing problems. He's now just got 1 ward to find, actually, and he had taken that one away, and you can see EG sat, ready, and waiting. They want to actually get that Banshee's Veil down on Freeze, possibly. Ace in a hole used on Froggen, use the Seraph Embrace to block that one out so it doesn't take a great deal of damage.
Yeah, nicely done. Good decision, in my opinion, from that one. Stay as healthy as he possibly can from it. We can see that minion wave on the top lane. It's still coming down. He's still pushing right in there. EG going to be starving NiP even more than they've had for these last 10-15 minutes, taking away another blue buff. But as you said, you talked about Baron earlier on, and I'm not sure that it's really a question for either of these teams right now, because neither of them seem very willing to fight, to go heads on 5 versus 5 at this point, and certainly you don't want to be throwing a Baron away and possibly an 8 or 3 or 4 kills even at this stage when it is just so very close.
Yeah, strange resource choices there for EG as well. The fact that they caused that problem, like we mentioned, their top lane had gone there. Bjergsen went to deal with it, but EG chose to go for the blue buff already. They could have took a 5-4-on-4 advantage instead. Of course, with Destiny, it's not going to be an advantage for too long, which is why we see Bjergsen just been using that Destiny. He thought they'd gone for Baron. They had to check it. That's not going to be available. Bjergsen does get caught out by a quick null sphere there, and it did a lot of damage already. So a lot of ability power stacked up on Froggen. We saw how much damage that just single null sphere did. And that's going to be a problem for them if Freeze was to have that Banshee's Veil go down. But they are still having a lot of stance dancing. Look where Froggen's going, though. He's still sneaking around the side of them.
Yeah, he's controlling that bottom side of the jungle of NiP right now with the Oracle. Oh, Deficio caught out of position here. Froggen's like, well, I can't really stick around and fight with that one. NiP coming back to him, trying to stay in the position that they've got, but EG are closing in right now. Stun card goes on to Wickd, but they get Malunoo.
They're going to try and catch on towards him. Malunoo gets taken down. Passive's going to pop up. He's going to know. Look at the damage coming from Mimer, though. That just blows Shaker straight up. Wickd taking a lot of damage as well. That's going to be Malunoo. His passive burnt. Mimer's going to get focused on Seraph's Embrace, just blocking out the damage. This is such a tight fight. Freeze is doing all the damage from the back. Pete stealths himself up, and they all back away again. And it's the two junglers that go down, and Ninjas and Pyjamas, they're going to try and drive it through towards the inhibitor. Don't think they've got enough, though. But the rest of EG, they're going to react quickly. Yeah,
they're going to try for this one at least. They are moving in towards that turret. Yellowpete just off to the side, wondering, can I get in there? Is there an opportunity? But we see the home guards on both Wickd and Froggen get them right back out to that inhib turret, prevent any damage coming in from that one. And again, a 1-for-1. We can almost call it a 2-for-1 because Malunoo obviously coming straight back up. He almost escaped again, by the way. If it wasn't for Froggen singling him out and chasing down, he probably would have escaped that one. But that's the thing about Malunoo. He's quite happy to go in there and say, look at me, I'm right in your face. You got to do something. Take as much abilities, especially those ultimates, as he can. And then, you know, he's not even dead from that. He's happy to take as much as he can away from the rest of his team and give them that chance, as you saw there, to just turn the fight as soon as he goes down afterwards, knowing that EG don't have too much to throw at the rest of the team.
And you saw how potent Mimer was as well, because he just walked in behind it and effectively blew up 3 members of EG. They had to back away from that fight. They couldn't get involved. And Freeze actually bought himself a lot of time. The fact that they focused on Malunoo, Froggen wasn't on Freeze at all there. Freeze was just free farming, free hitting at the back there, and that's what you want as an AD carry or marksman, whatever you'd like to be called these days. They want to have that free time to do all the damage, but Pete, in the meantime, he was getting focused by NiP, so NiP still seem to have the better focus in terms of team fights. Look at Froggen going aggressive there. He may well have baited his entire team into this one.
Yeah, they may just fight this one as the Nami tidal wave comes around. Mimer going very low. There's the unstoppable forces. They do dive in. Malunoo's in there as well. He will die. That's a double kill coming down for Froggen, and that is 2-for-0. EG going to be happy with that one, and they're going to turn towards the Baron. I'm not quite sure about it, though. They're putting a couple of wards down. Wickd actually started to recall from this one. He will recall himself, but NiP not going to give this one up, and EG are going to maybe try and set up a trap from that. But look how much health they lose instantly as Wickd cancelled his teleport. That was interesting.
Cancelled his teleport, and I think they're realizing it's a very dangerous play to go for that Baron. There's Destiny being used once again by Bjergsen, keeping the vision on them, and Ewa Geniuses realized the situation. I think they were maybe just trying to bait for it that time, see if they could catch someone out from NiP. The fact that Wickd did go back, buy up them items, quickly try and teleport back in. They were like, nope, they're not taking the bite, though they are now going in. This may be a good time because they had the vision. They saw NiP back off, and they have taken it half health already. They're going to get it before NiP responds.
Well, for me, Bjergsen has just gifted them that Baron right there. He used his Destiny, and you know, that's one tool that you've got for vision, all well and good, but the fact is he used it then to move down to the bottom lane, and they saw that he's there, and the fact is that a couple of them were just coming out of the base after being dead. Without that Twisted Fate there, they'd probably say, well, we just go for this one. So I'm not sure that was really the best call out of NiP to send Bjergsen down towards his bottom lane. He's given Evil Geniuses that Baron. Now they've got, look at the goal, 5,000 that's turned into, with, you know, just that 1 or 2 fights really happening on top of the Baron as well. So they've really pulled ahead on that front. The question is, will they feel secure enough now to actually do anything with the Baron?
Yeah, and in terms of gold, it's a big advantage for Froggen right now. The fact he's up 7-0-4. I think he just saw he passed the 18,000 gold marker there, way ahead of Bjergsen. Freeze the second highest around about 16,500. That means he's just popped in towards that Blade of the Rune King. He's got the Infinity Jets and Phantom Dancer. So Freeze is very strong at Caitlyn now, but Yellowpete is already up to that power as well. And honestly, he's actually not the scary focus. It is Froggen. And of course, we just saw him doing that quick burst combo. If Freeze's Banshee's Veil's down, he may well get close to one shot by Froggen if he manages to catch him out. And his positioning so far, though, has been fantastic, and it's actually Mimer that's been the real headache for EG.
Yeah, and he's putting down so much damage at this point. Got that Spirit Visage in there now. Void Staff done earlier on. Froggen again, Oracle running. We'll see the new Oracle, I guess we can call it, here in 3.9. Got the slightly change or reduced vision range, I guess we can call. Plus 4 minutes instead of 5. Persist through the death. Not that seems to be a problem this game for Froggen anyway, who's 7-0-4. Not died a single time. And EG now going to be looking to move in. The fact is, though, NiP have got a lot of wave clear on their team.
Yeah, it's interesting the fact that now it does persist through the death. It's probably been ingrained on the teams that guy's got an Oracle, focus him. But now it's not quite so important. So interesting, obviously, that whether the supports get a bit of a free reign now that they don't get quite so focused. Of course, there's still the squishies that everybody loves to get a kill on. NiP, though, they're clearing and defending this bottom turret. Remember, EG do have that Baron. It's got around about 70 to 80 seconds left on it. And Froggen, he's getting himself some free time in that mid lane. Some sexy time with the tower and takes it down, no problem.
And that's what they've been trying to do since minute 29 or something like that. Like, no, 20 minutes ago.
Well, it wouldn't be an EG
to do
game
that
without this.
Well, of course. I mean, we've come to expect it. We were like, you know, get Shaka in there, change of play style. Nope. Not today. And well, they're gonna. It's the thing that works for them. It's tried and tested from EG's side. So they know what they're doing with this one as a hook comes flying through the wall, and Deficio just a little bit out of range with that one as Froggen getting close in there as well. They've got good vision over the top of the wall from this, and they'll continue to do damage as they now move in towards that middle inhib turret. Froggen has gone back down to the bottom, so they decided the mass at the bottom is not quite what it needs to be, so they're going with the mass in the middle.
Yeah, the top lane's actually pushed by NiP as well, so whether they're going to back off. They want to use this Baron, but there's not a great deal left on it. It's got to be down to about 20, 30 seconds at max right now. Yeah, just looking across it, you can see it's about 20 seconds on that timer. We are seeing a wild camera going, and they are going to quite catch Malunoo getting caught out a little bit there. There's a lot of damage coming out from both AD carries. You're seeing some big numbers, 870 coming out from Pete. We're seeing 1,000 plus from Frito, so clearly with more damage on towards the minions. But it's not the minions they're going to be fighting. And with that Quicksilver Sash that Pete's obviously picked up. Oh, look at this. They've bought themselves some free time at the bottom. And just like that, they chunk a half the hit points off it.
Yeah, and that's what they need to do. Any little opportunity. Those turrets aren't going to be lasting very long whatsoever, even if it's just Froggen there with Cassidy, who puts down ridiculous amounts of damage in there. Wickd taking a bit of a blast. The hook coming out from Krepo again. And they've managed to fend off this middle push, but Froggen's going to go bottom again.
He is going to go bottom, keeping the mobility going, as she can do with Cassidy. And once that wave comes in there, you can see he's already down there. It's just Bjergsen he's up against right now. Takes half the hit points off Bjergsen. And that's just a simple one combo from Froggen using the spells. And that's going to force Bjergsen back. Now they're going to get free time in the middle. Mimer had to use his ultimate to clear the last wave. It's back up again, though. We are seeing Bjergsen. He's going to pop his ultimate out there. Shaken. Going to get back. No. Deck's taken down. Bjergsen actually not going too aggressive, but Pete's been caught out of position. Uses that QSS. Is it going to be enough? With that Ignite, gets the slow down. Krepo comes in, gets the shield on, and quickly lifesteals it back up. They did manage to get down Shaka, but still, the towers took a hell of a beating from EG.
And the thing is, that's going to slow EG down even more now, because because of how that went down, they're going to be so much more scared of doing it again. I mean, of course, the Baron buff did run out for them there as well, which not the ideal situation, but they're going to come back in with a bit more. We're seeing more Oracles picked up. We can see the supports both running with that Locket of the Iron Solari right now. We've got Randuin's Omen finish for Shaka as well, along with obviously both the Runic Bulwarks in there. Wickd got himself the Abyssal Scepter down now as well, along with that Spirit Visage. So now that magic resist that he was maybe lacking a little bit earlier on is definitely coming back in. And look at this, NiP decided to push right out. Froggen was in the top lane just farming that one out, so he's going to have to react to this one pretty quickly.
Well, Froggen's just off at the side. Are they going to get in? This tower's taking a heck of a beating already. NiP going to take it. The first inhib of the turret of the game, would you believe, goes down to NiP despite all the pushing that Evo Genius is doing. Froggen comes around the side though, puts one little burst combo. Unfortunately for him, it was Malunoo they They went in, took him down to half hit points. Wickd going aggressive. He's trying to get out, and EG are not going to be happy about simply being caught out of position. That was all because they saw Froggen at the bottom and Pete at the top and said, guys, we can rush, we can get in, we'll take that turret down. And that now gives EG a real headache because that is wide open. And with a Twisted Fate on your team, they could get in and get that in him before they can even react to it. Froggen goes a little aggressive on Freeze. Oh, look at that turnaround. That combo was not as strong as this time around. With that Banshee's Veil on, he doesn't do a great deal to Freeze.
Yeah, and losing one element of that combo is definitely not what you want, and Freeze making a great decision from that. He saw the turnaround on damage that he could do to him after it, so that's dangerous stuff for Froggen, knowing that now he can't quite get that AD carry down when it comes to being in the jungle, and he'll be killed himself if he fails to do it with that single burst of damage. Bjergsen going to be getting his blue buff, Froggen the same over on the other side of the map, and 52 minutes into this one, something tells me that there's still a while to go.
We are almost certainly going to pass the hour mark, I feel.
Yes.
Baron, though, with that 12 seconds, that could speed things up. Or it could slow things down. We're not too sure which way it could go. Destiny is available for Bjergsen and EG. They're stacked back in the mid lane. And actually, NiP are a bit out of position here. You can see Malunoo's off at the side, Deficio off at the side, Mimer at the side as well. They could potentially shove straight down, but because they've got no ward vision there, they didn't realize this. They could have took that mid lane inhibitor turret instead. Now we're going to see them coming around. They've just realized their mistake and gone, oh, damn it, they were all there. Nevertheless, it is NiP back in position.
And so much about position in this game right now. I mean, at 53 minutes in, you die and you're down for a very, very long team. As we see EG setting up in the brush. There was a ward there, so I was getting a bit excited over nothing for a while. Didn't quite get the trap set up that they maybe have would have wanted from that. And there we see them going into Deficio. Loses half of his health, and NiP are probably going to have to back right off from this one. The problem is that Baron is there right now, so they either back away and stay healthy, or, you know, and therefore give up that Baron, or they stick around and risk having a fight where they've already lost a lot of health.
Well, Froggen just backed. I can only assume he's teleporting in, actually. Teleporting for this fight. They want to go for it. They're going to dive on towards Mimer. They haven't quite caught out. Wickd hasn't used Unstoppable Force yet. He's holding it, waiting for his opportunity. He doesn't want to waste up Malunoo this time around. Krepo was taken low from that fight. Froggen had just back, like I said. I think all he did is bought a couple of potions. I'm not too sure. Maybe a second Oracle. Maybe that's what he went back to buy. But they have stepped away. Nobody died again. EG looked very strong in that one. There's Destiny. There it is used. How long will that last? They haven't gone to the top. The rest of NiP have realized they could be going Baron. EG immediately, though, step away. And sure enough, this Baron dance is going to drag it out a little bit longer.
I think Froggen went back to buy EG some time to finish off this one. But the funny thing is, NiP know that they've backed away from this one, and look, they're going for it. Wickd is actually on the bottom side here, so they've got the possibility of coming in.
But he still has Unstoppable Force. He didn't use it in that fight, and they are all in a really scary position right now. They're waiting for Freeze. Oh, that cask was thrown. They wanted to catch him out there. Froggen flashes away. There's Unstoppable Force, but he's going to go down already. That's the frontline tank down. Pete gets dropped off the back there. Mimer picking up a double kill. Shaka comes in one by one. EG making mistake after mistake. And now it's only Krepo and Froggen left. They can't do a thing about this one. Froggen's going to run away, and that's going to be a Baron for NiP. Fantastic play.
What a play out of NiP coming in from that. They saw that EG started Baron with Destiny. They saw that they backed away. They went straight in there. EG, a bit questionable how they approached it, in my opinion. They came in one by one by one, and easy to pick them off in that scenario. The three of them together could have actually taken kills and forced NiP themselves to back away, but now NiP have got the buff, they got the gold from it, and they're pushing up towards the inhibs. They're going to take it down, and they might try and close out the game.
They've got 30-second death timers. It's entirely possible. Once that minion wave comes in, Malunoo pretty tanky as well. That hook's not going to land. That's going to be a Nexus to it. Also, will it be one? Froggen goes in. Zhonya's Hourglass used just at the right time. Has he bought enough time? Rift walks away. Yes, he gets away. That's going to be a Nexus turret going down. Second one will follow. And it looks just like that. A quick turnaround. Ninjas and Pyjamas will take the game against Evil Geniuses. And, well, EG were in control for most of the fight. NiP with a fantastic turnaround. And that's the danger of when the game starts getting to that hour mark. The death timers are so long that one mistake, one big mistake, as SK Gaming have learned so many times in the past against Fnatic, can cost them the game. And Ninjas in Pyjamas with Mimer for the first game pick up a great win.
And the funny thing is, it's not quite what we usually see at the Baron. You know, we usually see a team being lured in there to make a mistake in a fight, but it was just so well played from NiP. They knew that EG were doing Baron. They popped Destiny. They walked away from it and saw them walking away, so they said, well, let's do it right now. They walked straight in there. They're killing off Baron. Then EG, you know, Wickd came in there first. He used the unstoppable force when he had no health left. Then we saw Shaka coming in from the side, and one by one they fell. And NiP, they baited that out pretty much, and they used the timing perfectly. I mean, they were sat in their base for like 30 minutes of that game.
They baited themselves there, to be honest. I mean, like you say, once that Destiny was used, EG were like, oh, Destiny's been used. Okay, they've not come for it, so we can back off. And EG saw it, because they actually, NiP had wards, whereas EG didn't really have great ward coverage. So fantastic, fantastic play. And, well, NiP tactically outsmarting one of the strongest late game teams in the game. And you got to wonder, when that one push that EG had down that mid lane, NiP were off. They had 3 members at the blue buff. If they'd had a singular ward at blue buff, they'd have seen 3 members across there. None of them had an Oracle at the time, and they could have pushed straight through and took that middle inhib. But simply put, despite the fact everybody was buying Oracles, wards were everywhere, one single ward could have turned that game.
Well, a fantastic ending to it. I didn't quite expect it to go down the way I thought. We were in for another 20 minutes of EG slowly but surely pushing their way through for that one. But NiP showing that even with a new man, again a new man in the team, Mimer obviously coming in there, that they can still do this to the top names in League of Legends. And we should talk about Mimer, because first performance on the stage here at the LCS, and played that Rise, was quiet in the early to mid game, but you saw the damage potential. Well, it's a Rise that's been allowed to farm and has gone 50, almost an hour into a game. He's of course going to have damage, and positioning was great. Brilliant first match for him. Yeah, and it was him that picked up the double kills at the Baron, of course. When they kept coming in one by one, he was picking up the kills. Yellowpete almost got away, and he's went, nope, you're dead. And that was it. That was the turnaround point. And what a fantastic game, though. NiP now on a tear. We wondered, with Extink stepping away, how much of an impact this would take. It seems that they haven't really noticed so far, which is not a bad thing, because Extink was one of the best players in that top lane once he stepped in for NiP. Mimer stepping in, the confidence boost that's going to give him for this weekend. Of course, he's going to have a match tomorrow, but that is going to be a great feeling for him. And that's the thing from our side, and you know, you guys at home as well, that traditionally when subs have come in, it's been so hard to tell whether they're going to be a good thing or a bad thing for the team. But the subs that we've seen in the LCS so far, they've all been good somehow. It's worked for pretty much every single player that's been switched. And they've changed 4 men this time around already this season of NiP. Really working out nicely for him. We're going to head over, though, to Jason, who's got Mithy from the Lemon Dogs with him to break down that game.
Thank you for that, Joe and Demon. And that was a pretty long, drawn-out game. I mean, we were watching it a little bit earlier, and we're just like, you had bets of, it's probably gonna be about an hour game, and I was like, come on, don't do that to us. But it was still really interesting to see, because NiP with their new top winner Mimer, we were really curious to see how well they'd actually bond together. But let's start off from the beginning. Let's start at the picks and bans. What do you think about the picks coming into this?
I think Lemon Dogs used to run a very similar comp to NiP, and I really think it's a good comp. But it's hard to deal with casting with that comp. So I think the picks and bans were slightly in favor of EG, in my opinion. Okay, and yeah, we saw the double teleport, one onto Wickd, one onto Froggen. What was your thoughts on that as we got into the game? Because that was really difficult for NiP to deal with. Yeah, it's incredibly difficult, and I don't think EG played it as good as they could have played it. I really think double TP, as soon as you get to late game, it's a very tough thing to deal with. Okay, yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit later, but also the Aatrox that we saw Malunoo playing. How did you feel about him? Because we haven't seen him in the jungle just yet. We've seen Darian play him in the top lane. We've seen I can't remember his name, Kiwi Kid playing him from Dignitas in the top lane from North America. How did you feel about him in the jungle? Well, I am not a jungler, but I feel he's a very strong early game jungler. If a lane gets a lead, you can easily dive because of the passive. And late game, the way he built it, I think he was just a tank that has a free GA, and yeah, if you focus him, it's good for him and for the team, I guess. Okay, and we actually do have a replay for you. We have 2 of them, but the first one, it's mostly just to kind of show how NiP, it seems like they have a little bit of growing pains with Mimer in the top lane, because it was an engage that I guess that shouldn't have happened, that we're going to talk about. So it's a 3-pointer screen and just show you kind of how this goes. And we're going to start, as we're paused right here, about 27 minutes in, 5-6 in favor of Evil Geniuses. And the gold lead, it's still in favor of NiP right now. So can you kind of talk about how this engage is going to go and why NiP shouldn't have been in this position before we start this up? Well, I don't think NiP should engage this fight at all. Caitlyn doesn't have her last whisper yet, and yeah, that's basically it. There's no point for NiP to engage this fight, and they pick up the wrong engage, and I think they actually engage on Malphite too, so yeah, this fight doesn't turn well at all.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and start this up. As you're going to see, Wickd, he used that ultimate right onto Mimer, right off the bat, and then you're going to see Twisted Fate come in. And walk us through what happens here and why this is so bad for NiP, because you mentioned they go onto Wickd.
Yeah, I guess they want to counter-engage after Malphite ult is used. Mimer is low, and the tidal wave should be coming soon, I guess. Yep, there it is. And yeah, they pick up the engage on Malphite, as we can see. And Krepo hits a really good hook, goes in. Shaka hits a perfect ultimate, separates the whole team.
Yeah, I want to pause right there, because just look where everyone at NiP is. Bjergsen freeze, they're pushed out of the fight completely. Deficio, he's pushed up against a wall where he's a support, he's going to die in a few seconds. And then you have Malunoo, who's just kind of stuck in the side with Krepo and crew.
Yeah, this fight has turned incredibly wrong for NiP. They should have not picked it on the first place. They picked it wrong, and yeah, I think this is a 2-4-0. Yeah, and yeah.
Yeah, it was just a 2-0, but we want to just strictly show that, you know, bringing a new person to the team, even someone as experienced as Mimer in terms of solo queue, it can really have some bad effects on you. But you mentioned earlier, having the double teleport onto Froggen, onto Wickd. How could Evil Geniuses use that a little bit differently? Because we actually had a conversation about this.
Yeah, I feel that there was a point where Kassadin was so fed that Kassadin could just go bot, and no one could deal with him effectively. If he bought like 3 wards and just warded the red jungle of NiP, he could have easily just pushed bot and no one could deal with him as EG just clears Baron and starts baiting it and stuff. They had Malphite and Xin Zhao, and Twitch, who can like really easily do Baron. Okay. Or at least bait it for a long while. And yeah, I didn't feel, I mean, EG tried, but they didn't do it as good as they could have done. Like, for example, the game where Fnatic played against us, the first game, the game we lost to them, they did this, and they actually played it really well. They got caught, of course, because we had a comp to catch them, but at the same time, they played very well, and there was a point where no one could deal with Kassadin, and yeah.
Yeah, he had over 800 ability power at the end of that game. It was just ridiculous. And yeah. This next replay we're going to show you, it's about 56 minutes in. It's like the last big fight that we're going to see. And it was a moment for us that we were saying, you know, NiP, they just have to go for it. Like, you can't let EG keep split pushing you because you're not going to win in the end. And they finally do make that play. And kind of walk us through, as we're going to get this replay on your screen, exactly what happens and kind of how NiP turned this game around and won it flat out.
Yeah, they see NiP do Baron and EG gets desperate. They want to stop it. They don't know exactly. I'm not sure, but I don't think they know they don't have a ward in the pit, so they don't know exactly the HP of Baron. And Malphite picks up a poor engage, gets chunked to like 30% HP before the fight even starts. And yeah, after that, Twitch had no flash and no ult, so basically if she gets any close to Caitlyn or a Ryze, he will get insta-popped. So that fight was super bad, and they should have just let them get Baron and tried to defend with it.
Let's go ahead and start this up just to kind of show you what happens here. And I mean, you mentioned Wickd. He gets caught out. He gets chunked down so low, and then he decides to go in. Why is that?
Well, if they don't go in now, it's lost anyway, so he has to go in no matter what. Yeah, you can see he's super chunked. Yellowpete is super chunked too. Wickd just dies, straight up dies. Yellowpete straight up dies too. Then Bjergsen pulls out a really good Zhonya's and stops all the Kassadin damage and manages to survive. And yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty much the story. It was just someone gets caught up, they pick him up and die. And how'd you rate Mimer in this whole situation? Like, do you think it did well? Because early game you had a couple of concerns.
Well, I'm not a top laner. I feel that he shouldn't go behind in CS to Malphite at all, especially with Ignite against TP. Some fights he played well, some fights he got caught, but it didn't end up too bad for him. And this last fight he played exceptionally, and it won them the game, so yeah.
What do you think about in terms of nerves? Because you came into here after playing against Alternate in the promotion tournament where you guys unfortunately lost in that best of 3. You think maybe a little bit of nerves, you're just kind of getting used to the whole situation?
Yeah, I think so. And he picked up the wrong game to get nerves on. I agree with that. But yeah, I was very nervous on my first game. It actually showed. I went like 0-3, right? Yeah. But yeah, you just have to deal with it. And someday you'll just not be nervous, I guess.
Well, thank you very much, Mithy, for joining us. Good luck on your game a little bit later today. But for now, we're heading over to Shox, who has an interview with Freeze.
Thank you very much, Jason. Freeze, congratulations on that match. Let's start at the beginning. The Aatrox pick in the jungle, is that something that Malunoo really wanted to play, or was it a team decision? And what do you think it brought to the game?
It's a new champion, and Malunoo felt like he can really handle him, and he can play him really well. And since he has a lot of pressure early game, we kind of felt that we need to have the pressure because Shaker is really strong in the early game. And we make it up, and we survived the early game against Shaker.
You survived the early game, and then it was a very long-winded game. And tell us from your perspective, that moment at Baron, how did you go about and said, this is the moment we have to go, this will win us the game?
Well, we basically waited for like 20 minutes to actually see the mistake, and then we saw them porting back. And that was it. Like everyone just knew it, that we need to do it. If we don't do it, Baron, we just lose the game slowly. And we went for it, and we baited EG to do mistakes, and we won the game on it.
Mimer also did exceptionally well in that last fight. How do you think he did overall in this first game, you know, in front of this crowd, and in a 1v1 versus Wickd immediately?
Yeah, he's really strong. Just the fact that he has free accounts in Challenger and he keeps them there is like really, really good. And he brings a lot of new champions into the team. For example, Lissandra and Eve, which were banned against him. That was like if the new player comes to the team and he instantly like takes out the bans, that means something. Like, and that's super good. Like if some player can take the bans on him and then open the space for example, me or Bjergsen, then that's what we need.
Absolutely. Now, finally, of course, going up against EG, it's tricky for the teams going up against because you never know if you're going to be facing Snoopy or Shaker. So how do you deal with that? You don't really know who's going to be in the jungle.
Well, we actually know who we will face against because Snoopy was streaming entire weekend. So it was like, yeah, I think Shaker is practicing with them in team rankeds and Snoopy is streaming solo queue. So we know that we will face against Shaker and we prepare for it.
All right, thank you very much, Freeze. Now, Fnatic and Gambit have already met twice this split, and both times Fnatic dominated. This time, it's to see who gets to stay in first place and who gets knocked down to second.